If you are building an online business but are struggling with time, tech, or money to make it work, then this is the podcast for you. Our goal is to share our skills, our experience, online business adventures so that you can build your online business quicker, easier, and bigger than you ever thought possible. Hello, my name's Nigel T. Best. I'm with
Jared.
And welcome to the show. So the question we have for you, website design. Is it important to get it looking good on mobile devices? You know, it's one of the questions that crops up time and time again, and it's why I'm here with Jared today, because we're talking about website design and the big differences between whether you're looking at a website on a desktop, on a tablet, or whether you're looking at it on a mobile device. Now, the key thing is that all the stats and the information and everything out there is saying that about 2/3 of everyone looking at a website is doing so from a mobile phone. So, Jared, that makes it pretty important.
It definitely does. I mean, you not only do you have to think about the size of your website, but you also need to think about the resolution of the pictures. You need to think about certain colors might oversaturate a post on a mobile because you're looking at it on a smaller screen, so you'll see more colors, more compact, whereas on a website those colors will be spread out a lot more and it'll look a lot simpler. So you need to also take that in mind when you think about a lot of the design aspects of it.
So what you're saying is you've got to think, how big is the screen that someone is looking at, because everything can look radically different. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, there's a lot of little things, from little to big things. And obviously you don't need to worry about all of it, but there are big issues that you do need to worry about.
Okay, and one of the questions that we spotted is from Melanie. Hi, Melanie. Hope you're doing well. Is this issue of, all right, look, on the desktop, I've got some photos. They look amazing. I love them. The designs, the swirls, all that sort of thing. I know exactly what you mean, Melanie. But when it comes to a mobile, it dominates the screen. You lose the call to action button. You lose the text. It just looks a bit ridiculous. And the question is, can you hide those? For certain devices, how do you do that sort of thing? My question to you, Jared, is, should you actually be hiding things, or should you be doing something different?
Well, I understand her struggle because we've had the same issue when we first came to designing websites, was that, especially with Groove, when you put a picture into your website, it'll dominate the entire screen to the point where, on mobile, where you're scrolling for you keep on scrolling, and it was just kept on being Nigel's face. So, and eventually you get to the point where you're like, what even is this website? I've gotten to this website and all I see is just this man staring at me.
Hold on a second. What's wrong with my face? All right, answers on a postcard. And if you don't know what a postcard is, you can all get lost. But yeah, go on. So, Jared, on a mobile, it looked great on desktop. We had a great image, but what you were saying there is, crikey, we had to scroll and scroll and scroll. And the issue with scrolling is, what do people do?
You lose your audience. They'll go off of it. They won't understand. You won't capture them straight away. Like with your website, you'll have that text with the image on the side or above or wherever you have the image. But you'll have that text that captures them and they understand what website they're on. But with mobile, if the picture is large, they'll just keep scrolling and they won't get to the information that you're trying to give them.
Yeah, again, some stats will show that for every second or so, or every scroll, the drop-off rates are, we're not talking a couple of percent, we're talking maybe 60, 70, 80% of people can't be bothered. Because think about it from your own point of view, folks. If you went to a website, if someone said, "I'll go to this website," and you pulled it up on your mobile, And the first thing you see is just an oversized image dominating things. You got to scroll through it, and then the formatting's out, or the text is kind of wrong, or it's jumbled up and all that. What's your initial response? Yeah, I can hear you. You're all nodding and you're all saying, I'm out of there. It's a mess. If that's a mess, I'm not interested. Subconscious, conscious, of whatever it is, we move away from it and we hit the back button and we get out of there. So it is a real big issue, folks. And the best way to test it, and Jared, we've had this issue where we've been sort of looking at things and, we've got a combination of Android phones, iPhones, different types of iPhones and things. And when we're looking at it, we're kind of quite confused because some of it worked for some and not for others. And we realized then that it is important what you do in the settings and how you set up your actual website and the size and the scale and what it's relative to and all the rest of it. Because yes, Groove tries to optimize for mobile, but if you override some of the settings, it cannot kind of shrink it down correctly. It cannot do the right thing. So we're going to have Curtis coming in and talking about some of the little issues that we can do. And we've got loads of videos on the YouTube channel where you can go have a look at some of these little technical nuances and things. But just coming back to the question there, Jared, what would you recommend then for mobile? Because that screen's not very big. If we've got some great images, are you thinking we need to take them out for the mobile site?
I think you can, obviously with mobile, you don't want to take all your images and all your design stuff out of the site, because then when they're scrolling through a mobile, they might just find it boring. They might think, well, I'm just reading a Word document. So you do want to keep some images in, but the ones that you don't really need to keep in. So let's say if it is just an image purely for just design purposes and it doesn't actually add to the content, you might as well just take that out, because it will save you a lot of time, a lot of hassle, a lot of editing, and it'll help your audience get straight to the point, especially if they're on mobile. But if you obviously have pictures that increase the content that you have on your website, so let's say it's about your course and you have an image that relates to that and helps a better understanding of what your course is, you're going to want to keep that image in there, and that's where you're going to want to lower scale that down. But obviously that becomes an issue if you have loads of images in there. But if you just have a couple that retain to the information that's on your website, you should be fine. So I would recommend taking out the bigger ones that don't really add to the information and keeping in the ones that do, but just decreasing the size and as well as the resolution.
Today's podcast is brought to you by groove.builders. Join the Groove Build membership today for 30 days. Enjoy 30 days of everything for just $1, where you'll get content, training, updates, access to our training library, and you'll be able to join our live Q&A coaching sessions that we hold, where you can come on and bring your business issues, your technical Groove issues, or I'm not very good at other sort of relationship things, so don't bring those. But you can bring all your issues and we will try and go through them and help you out. Go to there, you can see it going across the screen at the moment, groove.builders/build, and discover how you can build your business today. Okay, so I'm now joined, great to have you here, Curtis. So we've kind of had a think about it. Jared's mentioned some of the design issues. So going back to, this was a question from Melanie about, can Groove pages allow you to hide certain sections or large photos? And we were saying, think about your layout and what you should do, and whether it looks good on mobile or not, because as we say, 2/3 of people are going to look at it on mobile. And yep. Curtis, obviously we always bring you in for the tech side of things, because otherwise me and Jared would have made a complete horlicks of a couple of things. So it's always worth getting an expert in to talk about it. So what we're going to do is here on the podcast, we're going to be talking you through it. So if you can visualize your Groove page, your website, then great. If you can't, go to the YouTube and watch it, because you'll see what we're doing as a demo. And Curtis, you're going to give it a bit more, maybe in depth as another one, and do a little video.
Yeah, sort of a YouTube video demo, sort of to answer the question, but to also speak on mobile optimization as well. We have done a couple of videos about this in the past, which we'll link in the description, of course. But yeah, to answer the question, yes, absolutely, you can hide different sections of your Groove Pages website on different devices, and we'll go through that in the demo. But as well, why would you want to do that? Depends what sort of content you're using. If you've got some really large images taking up a good proportion of the screen, you may not want that on mobile. However, you can easily use a smaller image, put it in the same place, and sort of hide the smaller one on desktop and view the smaller one on mobile is what I mean. Yep.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Make sure you can only see the one that you want to see on the device you want to see. So, all right. Okay, what we're going to do now is, so for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll now see we're into the Groove dashboard. I'm on a page which is like a demo page, and what you can see, I don't know if you can imagine, folks, but when you're looking at your page, up at the top in the middle, it says there's a little toggle. I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit. So up there at the top, applying changes to all devices. So it says what device you're kind of looking at. So at the moment, we're looking at desktop here, aren't we? So we're looking at the desktop, and you can scroll through. You've got then laptop, tablet in landscape, tablet in portrait, and then a mobile. And you can see how your web page sort of changes to reflect what's going on. So from desktop, I've got, the words to one side and a picture alongside it. When it comes to mobile, obviously the words come first, and then you have to scroll to see the picture. Now, the big issue here is that picture might dominate the screen to the point where you lose your button, your call to action button, which is really crucial. So if we go in here, so Curtis, talk me through it. I'm going up to the top, aren't I?
Yep. So first thing you want to do is disable the slider. So that will stop you from changing your site on all devices. So now you can feel free to edit the entire site. Just don't hit that delete button. So we've made that mistake in the past. I think one of our sort of members has gone in, deleted something with that slider off, thinking, oh, it'll only delete it on one device. It does not. It's completely gone. So I think I sort of went in and recreated that for her just to help her out a bit. But there is another way of hiding it, which we'll show you shortly.
But Curtis, great thing. That was a classic thing of the benefit of the live Q&A coaching session, because she came in, she had a problem and said, look, I've done this, I don't understand it, because I only wanted it to affect the mobile, but it seems to have affected everything. And you went in, had a look at the issue, and the amazing thing is that on those coaching things, you can even, if you want, take control.
I think that's what I did in that case. I sort of went in and recreated the thing she'd deleted by accident, just to sort of help her out. But it was a lesson more than anything else, not just for her, but for anyone watching or listening. Just don't, if you delete something, it's going to be gone no matter what device you're on that Groove Pages menu.
All right, so anyone else feel like they've just been told off? Yeah, exactly. All right, so what we want to do is we're coming back to here on the web page. So we've gone to that toggle at the top, and it now says applying changes to mobile device. Yeah. Okay. So what happens then is you would go to your image. Let's say you don't want the image on the mobile. It's too big. You don't want to faff around with a different one. The question from Melanie was, can you hide certain sections of a page from being seen on the different devices? So her example was a large photo only on desktop, or to hide the content that isn't ready to be public, but it's on the page. Well, I would always say, don't necessarily put that content in if it's not ready to be published. But you could, just on an aside, you can create, so Curtis, you could create loads of content, you could add it, you could save it, but just don't publish it.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to do that, if you've got some content that you want to put into a website, but you're not sure you want it to be public just yet, is sort of create it and sort of save it as a block. So we've got tutorials on this, how to use the global blocks feature and the saving different blocks feature. And then you can sort of have it in your bank of content ready to add to a website when you're ready for it.
There you go. But I would always, in my head, if you're not ready to publish it, don't bother doing it yet. You know, concentrate on what's working at the moment. Anyway, back to the screen. So here we are. We're on the picture. We've clicked on the picture, so it's highlighted. We hit the cogwheel.
Yep.
And, oh, hang on. No, that's just saying what it is. There we go. I just slid the screen across. So I've got my content. It's here above my head when you're watching on YouTube. So I've got the thing that comes down the right-hand side with all the different aspects that are in there that you can have a look at. And the one that we are wanting to have a look at is right there above my head, which is layout. So keep talking me through it, Curtis. Make sure I don't press the wrong buttons here. So I've clicked on that.
Okay, so you're in the layout menu. All you do is click the display drop down. And now you've got a bunch of different options, but
I've got loads. I've got block, inline, table, cell, flex. I've got loads.
Yep. So obviously we're wanting to hide this particular element. It's pretty easy. There's a display option called none.
I've clicked on it.
Once you've clicked that, that will not be displayed on the live site. If you're watching this on a video, as you can see, it's sort of grayed out on the designer.
Yeah. So okay, so that is a change. So I'm going to hit save on that. I'm going to go back to the top where, you know, and I'm going to click on the desktop, and I can see there that on the desktop version, the photo still, the image still looks nice and sharp and clear as you would expect. I'm going to go back to the mobile, and yeah, it's kind of hashed out, grayed out. You can't really see it. So you know it's there, but as Curtis says, it's not going to be shown. So Melanie, that's a way, and anyone else who's been thinking, you know, how do you do this? What do you do? That's a way that you do it. Just to remind you, you go in, you select the image. Down the right-hand side, you go to the layout drop-down. You go to the display. It'll probably say something like inline block or something like that. You scroll down until you see none. You select none, and there you go. That's how you do it. Then you hit your save button. Don't forget to hit your save button. So what else?
So, of course, this could be applied to anything on your website. Say you've got a ton of text that you don't want on mobile. You know, obviously people viewing on mobile may not have as much attention span as someone viewing on the PC, taking the time reading through your website. So if you want to hide a big block of text, it's the same procedure. Select it, as Nigel will show you on the video now.
Okay, I'm jumped in. I've hit a big paragraph of text on here. Down the right-hand side, again, I've gone to the layout. I've gone to the display, which is kind of up here above my head. Parent default, it says at the moment. So I'm going to go to none. Look, there, it's got this kind of, it looks like you're looking at it through a wire fence sort of thing. So the beauty of this, folks, is you know it's still there. So if you want to bring it back, you can. You're not kind of getting rid of it. It's just a neat way of saying it is here, but you won't see it. So, okay, I'm going to hit save again. And there we go. Is that it, Curtis?
Easy as that. And then obviously publish when you're ready. You obviously check yourself on the live site. You'll be able to see it's not there on your phone, but it'll be there on the desktop.
Fabulous. Now, don't forget, I'm just going to jump back in here. Don't forget, when you've finished hiding the bits that you don't want on mobile, don't forget to go back and toggle it, because if you keep it stuck on there, any changes that you make then to the website, you'll have forgotten and you'll have left the toggle on, mobile only, and the changes will only be going on mobile. And then when you go back to desktop and you've published and you go, what happened to all the stuff I've just been doing, on the desktop version? And you'll go, oh my goodness, I forgot to untoggle or retoggle or toggle it so that all the subsequent changes apply to all devices. So there's just a top tip to make sure you know what you are editing at that point. But there you go. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed that episode on how to hide text. And next time, we're going to be looking at, how to improve load speed. So we look at images, we look at text, we look at all these different links. And I'm going to be back with Curtis next time. We're going to do another one where we're going to be looking then at things you can do to improve your load speed and how a slow load speed will kill the amount of traffic to your website. It will affect your Google rankings. It will ruin your SEO, and it is something you cannot ignore. If you would love to give us a review, we will give you a shout out next time. So if you're on the podcast, go to Apple Podcasts if you can. Give us a review. We'll give you a shout out. Remember to subscribe, and if there's someone that will benefit from this, give them, the link to it. But in the meantime, thanks for listening. My name's Nigel T. Best.
I'm Curtis. Thanks for joining us.
See you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.